Okay, it's March the 3rd, 2000. Okay, and this is Ralph Matthews, and I'm asking you about panthers. I heard that you had seen panther footprints on Browns Mountain. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, I had large cat footprints that I determined were mountain lion or panther coming out of the Bon Swamp National Wildlife Refuge property onto the dirt road running down
Next to that slough.
where all the Adamasco Lilies cliff is.
Oh, up on top of the hill?
Yeah.
Lewis Lands?
Lewis Lands property. So the road that runs to the end of Lewis Land's property, the dead ends where the Adamasco Lilies are, about 50 yards up from that cliff. Saw real nice impressions of cat footprints in dried mud.
Huh. And you sure of that?
Yep.
I mean,
did my master's research in the Santa Ana Mountains in California, working on gray fox, and I had mountain lion footprints all over my property all the time, so real familiar with mountain lion footprints.
Huh. So it couldn't have been a dog?
No, no question.
So you're definitely positive?
Positive.
And that's because you've seen them before in the past?
Right, and I kick myself for not making a plaster cast of it.
Yeah, sure.
That would have been perfect.
So that was about 2 years ago?
Right.
1998?
98, I would guess. I've been here since middle of 97, and I had been here about a year working on Browns Mountain when I saw them.
Did you report that to the DNR or anybody?
I think in passing I mentioned it to the folks up at DNR, so I deal with them. On
DNR or Fish and Wildlife?
DNR. I don't know that I mentioned it to
Which people do you work with DNR? What's that, the non-game?
Yeah, non-game, right. The frog guy and the bird
Ozier,
guy.
Jim Ozier, or Tom Patrick, Terry Johnson?
Talked to Terry Johnson a few times, but whoever their herpetologist is, that's who my main contact was.
Okay. So tell me about you then. What kind of background in biology or whatever, so that you were working on?
Well, I have a master's degree in biology from Cal State Fullerton, California State University at Fullerton. My thesis was on the home range and activity patterns of the gray fox and the hard chaparral. And so I was studying it between 300 and 4,500 feet, 4,500 feet elevation in the Santa Ana Mountains, radio tracking 7 foxes. And so we were in prime mountain lion habitat, and we had a 12-mile truck trail that we monitored for footprints of the gray fox, and also we noted cat footprints routinely. So I'm very familiar with the print.
So if it were like any other DNR agent, if they took it to somebody in the DNR and said, come look at this footprint and see, you would feel just as knowledgeable as some DNR person working in Georgia. I'm trying to get how qualified, like if you had to call somebody from the DNR, do you think they could have told any better than you that this was?
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, and that's because
my living is doing natural history interpretation. I take children out every day and teach them to read the signs of the forest. We look at deer prints, fox prints. We're able to tell their speed they're moving, the weight, all sorts of different things from tracking. And so I teach this every day, so I feel confident in my identification of the track. And I've heard other reports of large cats in the area. In gray, there was supposedly one identified for a while. And this is definitely good habitat for the cat. The Bon Swamp National Wildlife Refuge, though small, has lots of border property that supports wildlife, and it's a corridor, and I don't see why it wouldn't hold a remnant population. Of course, it's going to be a tiny population, and which means we're going to have worse problems than the Florida panther, because they have larger populations and they have reproductive problems. So if we do have a large cat in here, it's going to be a very small population, and I don't know if it'll be reproducible.
the guy at the base said he saw a cat with a kitten in '86.
That's awesome, if that's true.
Um,
But '86, that's 14 years ago.
yeah, they also had a sighting in '95 on the base. So anyway, I've just heard different reports, and that's
Sure.
why I'm checking it out. You know, Cherokee Brick and Tiles said they saw one. This Macon Telegraph reporter, I know somebody else at the base that wasn't, I guess it wasn't reported to the other base that
Mhm.
they know about. So I'm just trying to see. One thing, the DNR says they don't believe anybody unless they have a plaster cast of a footprint
Right.
or a photograph. And I'm thinking that if you've got all these sightings, and some of them are real credible people, like the base's top environmental guy, and you, somebody that could be considered pretty much an expert on footprints, with experience seeing them, that might be credible enough. Because would it make any difference? What would you think if you had taken a plaster cast and taken it to other people? Could they have towed more than you? Is it just the shape of it?
The shape
Is
and the
there,
size.
um, so basically, you couldn't tell any more from plaster casts. Um,
Oh, I'm sure there's experts that do this
If-
forensically for the police department or FBI, or I'm sure there's experts far more qualified than I that could give more information, but it was definitely a cat track. It was larger than my fist. It was not showing any claws. The cat definitely sunk into, or the animal sunk into the mud deep enough that it would have showed claws if it was a dog. This was as I was fairly new to Georgia, and I didn't realize that documenting a sighting like this would be that critical. I thought that was not uncommon.
yeah.
I'm not saying that cats are common, but I would not think that it was impossible for a DNR to believe that the cats are there.
Yeah, but that's the case. So, but that's good that you explained you didn't know.
But cats, they're elusive. They're here, they're there. Getting a photograph, that's tough. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you find some evidence of it. That'd be great.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Dan.
Sure.